back to doing a live stream. It's been a while. Haven't gone here and talked to all you college football outlaws out there, but I think it's about time. As now we have a breaking story with Oklahoma's athletic director. Today is stepping down. He's going to retire from Oklahoma, and while that's a great thing for Joe C. Some Oklahoma fans, you would surprisingly, some of them ain't too happy with Joe C. He's been there for a long time. He's done a lot of good things at Oklahoma. But honestly, the last 4 or 5 years have been a little testy at times, if you know what I'm saying. There's been a few things here and there that have, sort of made people question some of the things that are going on within the athletic department. Now, it doesn't help that Brent Venables and the Oklahoma football team have had 2 6 and 7 seasons out of the last 3 seasons. But, a lot of stuff went down and all that. That would lend you to, probably give Brent Venables somewhat of a pass. But we're going to bring up a few things today, and I might have a few people in here to give us their thoughts on the Oklahoma situation and what does it mean for Oklahoma. What does it mean? I mean, it sure is an odd time of the year to really be stepping down from any position in the athletic department, let alone the athletic director who's over everything. My question, I've done a video on it today. If y'all want to check it out, there's on done on podcast the other day, released about 4 o'clock. And my question to Joe C is, why now? Why not just wait maybe a year or two? I know you're getting up in age and you're 67, and that is probably a good reason to retire, as I said in my podcast. But one more season would probably really helped Brent Venables and the Oklahoma football team specifically, because as we all know, this is a make or break year for Brent Venables. A lot of people may not want to admit that. People that wear their crimson colored glasses and don't want to, shake the boat or want to pretend like they're Mary Poppins frolicking through the tulips all the time and don't want to ever talk bad about anything. This is probably a make or break year for Brent Venables. So you would think that Joe Castiglione, who hired Brent Venables, would at least stay the course and maybe, continue on as athletic director at least until the end of this year. Now, from what I'm hearing, and it may be the end of the year that he actually resigns, but from what I'm hearing, he is officially retiring as of tomorrow. I think they're going to hold a press conference at 9 a.m. I'm going to bring up a clip and show y'all that in just a second. But he was the guy that you hired, so why not just stay the course and you be the one to pull the plug, so to speak? That's my only question about the whole thing. Because now, Brent Venables had to put up with a lot of stuff that a lot of first-year coaches didn't have to put up with when he come in his first year. We went over that ad nauseum and how the program was gutted by Stinky Linky, the Skittle shitter out west there, Lincoln Riley. And then they had to go into a new conference, and now he's losing his athletic director who's been around for the better part of what? How long has he been there? 25, 26, 27 years? So Brent Venables has had to go through a lot as a head coach. A lot of stuff has really put him behind the 8 ball. And Joe Castiglione leaving really puts Brent Venables in a bit of a situation, in my opinion. Does Joe Castiglione leaving, does that mean anything? Does that mean that maybe Joe Castiglione, is he himself knows something? Maybe he had a disagreement with boosters and the administration, and that he did not want to maybe be a part of pulling the plug on Brent Venables. Because as you know, like I said, this is probably make or break year for him. And Brent Venables, in my opinion, now for certain. Now with Joe Castiglione as the athletic director full time, I probably wouldn't say this, but he probably more than likely needs to win 9 or 10 games, probably 10, in order to keep his job if a new athletic director comes in. Usually new athletic directors want to have their own staff and their own people, especially for the 2 biggest money-making sports for the university, that being college football and men's basketball. But let's go ahead and see who's up in here already. Kevron Harris was the first batter up tonight. It says, good evening, Outlaw. How's your 4th? My 4th was great. Got to see most of my family. Boarding fireworks, okay. Jacob Frank's in the house. Most the people with crimson glasses are just hoping he fails. LOL, they are scared. Hoping he fails at what exactly, Jacob? At retiring? The crimson colored glasses people that I'm talking about are the people that don't want you to uh, criticize Oklahoma or criticize their athletic director or anybody on the team. That's what crimson colored glasses means, is that you're one of those fans that does not ever want to hear any constructive criticism about your team. You want it to always be frolicking in the tulips with Mary Poppins and all that shit. But let's see. I want to invite some people up in here in just a second. I've already invited a few. I think Johnny Johns may be coming with us pretty soon. The guy from Next Halen, the best cover band of all time. Let's see if he got my invite. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a clip real quick of this situation with Oklahoma and get y'all's thoughts on this. 1989M is in the house. He says, "Good evening, my brothers. OCF. I hope your summer is going well. It's been okay. It's been off and on. I've had some health issues and whatnot. It's made it a little bit of a stressful situation, but other than that, I'm doing all right, brother. So let me present this for y'all real quick. Can y'all see that? All right.
The students I talked to here on campus say he'll leave a lasting legacy. And OU President Joseph Harris says the search starts now for a new athletic director, but Joe Castiglione will stay here until 2028.
He's had a great impact, and he'll be remembered for that.
OU football, softball,
take the series 2-0.
Gymnastics, and many more sports have thrived during athletic director Joe Castiglione's reign. But by June of 2028, his time will come to an end. Joe C. burst onto the scene when he hired OU football legend Bob Stoops to kick off his tenure.
An innovative and well-prepared game day coach.
But fans tell me they're hoping his last couple years bring OU fans something new to celebrate.
I think he can do just one final great job. As his last year, I think he can really just get to the finish line.
OU President Joseph Harris says the search for a replacement begins now. In a letter sent to students, he boasted about the 26 national championships OU has achieved with Joe C. at the helm, and says he'll be part of the search for his replacement and stay on to advise the program in the future. Students hope the next leader can even come close to Joe C.'s legacy.
I think he leaves a pretty lasting legacy just for everything he's done. Softball's taken off under him. Football's done some pretty good leaps forward.
And tomorrow at 9 a.m., OU will hold a press conference to talk about his retirement. We'll be there to bring you the highlights. In Norman, Colby Terrell, KOCL 5 News.
And there you have it. That was from a local radio station, or not radio station, TV station in Oklahoma on their thoughts about it. There's nothing really groundbreaking or earth-shattering. Now, I do have some candidates that have been already bandied about as a possible replacement, and one of them that came up on here is actually, to me, a pretty interesting one that I think that maybe Oklahoma fans should take into account and maybe make this guy their leading candidate to replace Joe C. But do y'all think that Joe C. maybe was told that, hey, things are getting a little bit stale, and we might have to let Brent Venables go if he only wins 7 or 8 games this year. If he doesn't win 9 or 10, we might have to let him go. And maybe Joe C., who seems to be pretty tight with Brent Venables, maybe he's not down with that. Maybe he sees it as, Brent Venables has had to overcome so much stuff that normal coaches wouldn't have to overcome. When Brent Venables came in, as you know, his predecessor, that being old Stinky Linky, the Skittle shitter out west, that being Lincoln Riley, was basically recruiting for USC before he even left Oklahoma, along with an assistant of his whose name always slips my mind, and basically lured their biggest star into the transfer portal, then tried to mince words and lie and basically gaslight people by saying, "Well, we didn't steal Oklahoma players. We took players. We took players from the transfer portal." We all know he lured him over there, and half the team, not half the team, but a lot of the team, a lot of the skill position players left, and then he has to come in and recruit. On top of that, and being a first-year head coach, he has to do all that on his own. He has to hire a staff, uh, along with the whole thing going on with Lincoln Riley. And then you have on top of that, you have the new NIL. At the time it was new. Now, right now, it's not new. But at the time when Brent Venables was hired, the whole NIL transfer portal thing was basically new. So he had a lot to assimilate to. Let's not forget the fact that he's also had personal matters with his wife fighting cancer. So Joe C may be like, "Hey, look, man." And normally you would probably get rid of a guy after 3 or 4 years if this was his record, but this guy has had some extenuating circumstances, and I don't want to be the guy to have to pull the plug. And so they told him, "Well, maybe you need to pull the plug on yourself." Y'all think that possibly happened? I don't know if it did or not. I've just been getting a lot of messages from Oklahoma people, and a lot of them are saying that, and a lot of them are not happy with the fact that Joe Castiglione decided to leave this year and maybe not wait one more year. Right, guys in the house. He's our resident Oregon guy. He says, "Good afternoon. Sorry, I've been away, work stuff." It's all good, brother. It's been a real slow off season. Usually the off seasons are pretty slow regardless, but this off season, I must say, has been probably one of the slowest off seasons for YouTube channels in general. Not just mine, but a lot of people have been telling me it's been really slow on YouTube. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe more people are going to TikTok. Now, I do have a TikTok now as well. If y'all want to check it out, I do some short videos over there. And so TikTok looks like it might be the way to go in the future. So I may start doing more videos over there on TikTok. Also, if y'all want to talk about anything else besides this, just drop it in the comment section. If you want to talk about Clemson football, for example, with Kevron Harris, just ask me a question. If you want to ask me a question about those Michigan Wolverines, 1989M, just ask it. If you want to ask me a question about Oregon, ask it. NIL Commish says, "Criticize all you want. Joe C is awesome, but he's made some bad decisions lately. He's the main reason OU took so long to get the NIL budget going." That's an interesting take. It's one I haven't heard yet, but that's very interesting, NIL Commish. So, fixing to bring up the hot board. There's like a top 5 that they've already got listed for possible replacement candidates, if y'all want to see that. All right, I'm still in here. Killer Breeze just sent me a message. Want to know if I'm still in here? Yes, I'm still in here. Johnny Johns. All right, let me send you a link, Johnny Johns. Let me send y'all another link. Something's wrong with the link, so I'm going to invite y'all again. I knew something was up. Here we go. Let me Gmail this to y'all, and we'll get y'all some Oklahoma people in here and get their takes on it. Must have sent y'all the wrong link. That's my fault. All right, I'm sending y'all the link now. Anybody else that maybe wants to be on the show that's been in here a lot that I know is not a troll, if you want to be on the show, you can come up in here as well. All right, so I sent the link out to Killer Breeze and to Johnny Johns. All right, I sent another one. I sent another. So let's go ahead and bring an Oklahoma guy up here in the mix so, people can't come in here and say, "Well, you're just an Alabama guy. You're trying to start shit." And most time I am trying to start shit. I ain't going to lie. I do like to stir the pot just a little bit. But Johnny Johns is in the house. He is a member of the best damn Van Halen cover band of all time. Next, Halen.
What's going on? Yeah, I was waiting, man. I was like, dude, something might be wrong with this link, man.
Yeah, I think I accidentally sent a link for my podcast that I done today.
Yeah, when I looked up, it said it ended. And I'm like, yeah, something's wrong. And so I turned it on my TV and was watching it on there. And anyway, yeah, I'm glad we got it figured out now, luckily.
So I'll
So,
go ahead and get your take real quick. Then I'm gonna bring Killer Breeze in here, and we'll dissect this. And there's a lot of Oklahoma fans, surprising to me, man. They're not too happy with Joe C. They think you might have shafted them a little bit.
yeah, I kind of feel like I love everything that he did for us. And like in the early 2000s, when he first come along, dude, I felt like this was a guy that couldn't miss, couldn't do any wrong. And like Sherry Cole with basketball was doing good. Like early 2000s, the softball team, I think in the year 2000, softball team won a natty, the football team won a natty. Sherry Cole, I think, went to a Final Four, some Elite Eights. The men's basketball was also went to a Final Four, and then I think also Elite Eight. And then of course for the 12 people that watch gymnastics, like we were doing good there too. And it was like, dude, this guy's just hitting a home run with every hire. And so I'm a little bummed out about it, but I'm not as bummed out about it as I would have been if this would have happened like 10 years ago. I feel like maybe it is time, like, you got to know when to say when, and all good things must come to an end. And it may be the right time for a change. And maybe he don't want to be the one to have to make that tough decision if Brent Venables doesn't win 9 or 10 games,
All right, I'm gonna bring Killer Breeze in here. The consummate Oklahoma roughneck. It's been a while since I've seen all y'all. By the way, it's good to see y'all again. Still good to see y'all still got your hair and all that good stuff. I lost mine a long time ago. But
Not
anyway.
much of it. Mine's retreating quickly.
So what's your take on this, man? A lot of Oklahoma, it surprised me. Like I told him, it surprised me. A lot of Oklahoma fans are a little pissed off at Joe C. for the timing of this.
Well, he's staying on through the end of the year. If they need him through the end of the year, he'll stay on through the end of the year. So it's not like he's leaving right away. The timing, man, is the timing ever really going to be good for something like this? I don't know if it's ever really great. You're either changing ADs because your program is in shambles, or you have a relatively good and successful AD, and at some point he's got to go. I mean, they're not going to stay forever. I think honestly, I think it's time. I think he went a little bit past his prime. He had a great run. Johnny brings up their success in basketball. He hired 2 coaches that took teams to the Final Four, not just one. So he had good basketball success, albeit somewhat inconsistent, but he had high-level basketball success under 2 different coaches. He hired the best softball coach maybe ever. He had the most profoundly impactful hire in Bob Stoops. And so I can see why he'd be anyone that wants to get out of college athletics at this point in time makes total sense to me. I would want to have nothing to do with NIL and recruiting at a time like this when it's just nonsense, so I'm sad to see him go just because he did so many good things, but has he had the same amount of success recently as he had in the early aughts? I mean, man, he's been here for 28 years, I believe, man. I mean, he was hired in the 90s. Guy comes from Missouri and, was a great AD and for a long time, probably the best AD in the country. But I'm fine with him leaving now. The timing isn't great just because the football program is not stable yet. It has to prove itself.
I just feel like Brent Venables can't catch a break, man. It's just like one thing after another happening to him. This is a make or break year for him, and his AD's leaving. You bring in a new AD. You know how new ADs are, man. They like to bring in their own people sometimes.
That's a fact. And, man, maybe, we'll see how that pans out, with BV. But I'm honestly a little excited because I'd like to bring some fresh blood in, and quite frankly, I don't remember his name now, but the AD at Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's a big one there because that was on my hot board up here. Uh, Ken Sterling said maybe Bob Stoops. Would Bob Stoops be interested in being an athletic director, or you think that's a no go?
I think it's a no go.
I can't see it happening, dude. I don't think he wants to jump back into something like that. I just don't. I don't see it happening. I'm kind of mixed about it, honestly. You know, I'm the best hire we've made. One of the best hires we've ever made at Oklahoma was Bob Stoops, and he had no ties to the program. You know what I mean? And so I see it as an opportunity to bring in some fresh new blood. And I really don't care if they've got ties to Oklahoma or not, because I don't think that that's necessarily, indicative of whether you're going to be successful. It's a great story if you do have ties to a program where you find success, but it's not necessary. And so I'd like to see some new blood. But see, you're bringing up Zach Selman. That's probably when Zach Selman left to go to Mississippi State, it was kind of understood that he was basically just going to get some AD experience so that he could come back and take the position at Oklahoma.
That was the first candidate. I was going to go over his candidates, and then I was going to get y'all's reaction to it. Zach Selman, you just mentioned him. The next guy on the list, they got Marcus Bowman. He's a athletic director at UNLV. He's done a lot of good things at UNLV, and he also worked for the University of Pittsburgh. Kirby Hocutt was the guy you was just mentioning.
That's the guy, yeah.
Texas Tech. This guy has done a lot of good work down at Texas Tech. He's got them on board with that NIL stuff. He's on his P's and Q's, man. This dude's really – he's been a lot more impressive than I expected.
I was about to say, has anyone been hotter than Texas Tech lately? I mean, dude, across the board they're doing stuff that is way out of their league normally.
And Ren Baker of West Virginia, Cuz will lose his noodle when he sees this. He'll be pissing his panties a little bit about Ren Baker. But as far as those candidates that I just listed, first you, Johnny Johns, what is your reaction to these names on this list?
Well, with the Zach Selman guy, I've been seeing his name pop up a lot, and I do know, like, when he left, it's kind of like a thing for me with Zach Selman. Like, I wouldn't mind us hiring him as the new AD if we genuinely believe he is the best guy for the job. Like, if we really think out of everybody we can hire, he's the best guy. But I don't want to hiring him just because his last name's Selman. Like, we got.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, man. I was thinking maybe they're putting too much emphasis on someone being that Oklahoma connection.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Because with Selman, and I know at the time that he left, and another thing people are saying is like, well, he's already got experience as an AD, in an SEC school. But dude, it's Mississippi State, man, and it's like, what hires has he made? Like, I mean,
well, he's only been there 2 years,
right? Like, I feel like, dude, I don't want us to just go. This right here is a huge, huge time in our, like, athletics and the history of where this place is going to go in the future. And I feel like this is a pivotal hire, and we've got to make sure that this is a right hire. We can't just go hire one of our buddies, someone because we like him, we love the family and all that. Like, we've got to hire the right guy. And I really, like you were saying, Bob Stoops is one of the best hires, and he had no ties to this program whatsoever. And I don't think Joe C. did neither. He come from Missouri, I think, or Nebraska.
That's right.
He come from Missouri.
He absolutely came from Missouri.
Yeah, so it's like, dude, I just want to make sure we get the right guy. And when it comes to Brent Venables and all that, like, I actually feel way better about Oklahoma's football season this year than I did last year. I know some of my own Oklahoma fans probably hated some of the stuff I was saying going into last year, but this year, I don't think we're going to – I'm not saying, like, I think we're going to go 12-0 or nothing, but I think this team's going to be a lot better. And I think that could help us find a new guy. And maybe this isn't as maybe he ain't leaving us as high and dry as we think. Like, maybe this year goes pretty good, and maybe this is a good, perfect year for Joe C to step down and new blood to come in. But
I
I don't
agree.
know.
So of those 5 names that they listed there, is there one in particular that you would prefer?
Yeah, I want Hokut.
I
Yeah,
would like Hookup too, just because of what he's done at Texas Tech. Man, he's throwing around money like he's the Longhorns or something. Like
And by the way, he's not just throwing it around to throw it around. He's throwing it around and he's winning a lot. And he
right.
just took and across all sports, those guys are doing big stuff that you never thought Texas Tech was going to be doing. At least not on any consistent level, man. But they go
Right.
out and they get the best player in softball, immediately makes them a championship caliber team. They're stealing recruits away from Oklahoma and Texas and whoever they want. Like they're not, Texas Tech. So
Right.
I mean, how can you not be impressed with that? And he does have some experience, some ties to Joe C. So he is at least familiar with the Joe C method. And if that is still relevant, and he can take that with him. But he's also a younger guy, I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly how old he is, but I'm pretty sure he's a younger AD as well. And I like the idea. I mean, look, we hired Joe C when he was a young guy. You know what I mean? And I think we should do the same thing with our AD. I think we need to get some young blood in there. Someone that's not jaded yet. Someone that's not jaded by what it's turned into.
NIL commission says hire an AD for all sports. Mike Nagy, is that how you say it? Nagy? Mike Nagy, is that how you say his name? The AD,
Nagy.
make him the AD, make him the AD for football only. New era, new NIL, new world. I don't know too much about splitting up the AD duties by one sport. I don't know if that'd work or not, man. It seems like you'd have too many Chiefs in the TP.
Well, I'll tell you, clearly Jim Nagy is having a major impact on the way Oklahoma is recruiting. So he's clearly, his role is significant. I mean, man, here's the thing. He's either going to come out looking like a flat out genius, or this thing's going to be a complete failure. What he's doing is nothing like what's normally done. He's basically essentially saying, unless you're in the trenches or you're a QB, he's not paying big money for big stars. Like, he just doesn't give a shit about that. He is just not going to do it. He's going to go by his value system and his rating system, and if it lines up with their stars, then so be it. But he's not chasing stars, and he's not paying money unless you are, again, in the premium spots, the O-line, the D-line, and QB, and that is it. I don't think he's paying high money for anyone else. Now, those are arguably all I really care about as well, because it seems like you can find diamonds in the rough everywhere else, and if you have a great valuation system, I mean, dude, he's hiring a big team of scouts, man. They are about to, I mean, the evaluation team of OU is about to be next level. So if you got a system that works and you can do it on the cheap, then hey, we all know the NFL is littered with 2- and 3-star recruits. That one-time 2- and 3-star recruits. So
I know the New England Patriots used to make a living off of getting cheap wide receivers.
there you go.
Yes. I was just getting ready to say that. You stole that out of my mouth, dude. Hey, also, Lance Hunter, this comment you got up here, I agree with what he was saying. That was my only concern. He was saying Texas Tech's success may be that rich billionaire oil man more so than that athletic director. And that is one of the things I was thinking, man, how much of it, it is the athletic director and how much of it, they've got a guy that's like Boone Pickens version of Texas.
Right? He has to be the one to manage that money.
Well, that's what I was just about to say. It's a fair point, but he's still the man making the deals, dude. He's still the guy making it happen. And make no mistake about it, just having the money does not guarantee you jack
Yeah.
you know what?
Just ask the Dallas Cowboys about that. They got
That's
all the
that's what I was just about to say. You don't have to drive that
That's
far
right.
away. Just
We're
go
all on the
straight
same
north.
page tonight, man. We're the trio tonight.
I mean, that's exactly who I was thinking about. I was thinking about Jerry Jones, and I'm just like, man, it ain't just the money. You gotta understand the landscape of the sports that you're playing so that you can even correctly assess where the money needs to be spent. And
Right.
he's clearly doing that.
Well,
So
in like Texas A&M, they had a bunch of money to go out and get a number one recruiting class, and somehow they didn't get the right guys, or they didn't get the right guys that blended together. But somehow it all blew up in their face. And it's like in Texas, I mean, how many times do we see them have number 3 class, number 2 class, number 5 class, and they had like 12 years of stuff, you know?
forever, dude, they've never had classes worse than top 10. They're always in the top 10, dude. Always. Even
And
when
then,
they suck.
and then, as bad as I hate to admit it, you know, Oklahoma the last few years, like Jackson Arnold was a 5-star quarterback, didn't work out. Taylor Tatum, number 1 running back, and jury's still out on him. Maybe he quits fumbling the ball. Maybe he's good next year. I don't know. And then like PJ Adebawore, jury's still out on him. Highly recruited guy that we landed. And then we had also you got the Peyton and Eli. One of them, the cornerback Eli, he's good. Peyton, he ain't quite been what we thought he was going to be.
He's been injured, but yes, you're right.
But it's like it seems like we just ain't been. It ain't like Oklahoma's just sitting around not getting any of these high level recruits. It's just none of them are turning out to be All Americans like what we're thinking, or they got injury problems or whatever. So it's like, and then David Stone, you know, we get him, and then the 3-star guy is good enough to be the starter, but he's not. So it's like it's not like we haven't been able to get any top high recruited guys. It's just a lot of these heavy hitters that we've landed, you know, they just ain't panned out. And even before, it was even going on before these guys. The class with Spencer Rattler and all those receivers and the tight end, Stogner and all them guys. That was a highly, highly recruited offensive class with one of the best offensive coaches at the time. And like hardly any of them dudes worked out at all at Oklahoma. Some of them, you know, like Spencer went on at South Carolina and was decent, but it's just like, how many times can we keep missing on some of these high-level guys? And with Jim Nagy here, hopefully that ain't going to happen no more. Hopefully we now start hitting on more of these guys, even if it's some 3-star guys that end up playing better than 5 stars or whatever. But one way or another, we got to be better at evaluating and developing the guys that we do get.
So with the new athletic director coming in now, do you think the bar is set just a little bit higher for Brent Venables as far as whether he stays or goes after this year? Do you think the bar is just a little higher now?
I do.
Depends on who they hire, man. I mean, if they hire Zach Selman, no, because he loves Brent Venables already. I mean,
That's
right. Who they bring in, but in a traditional sense, of course, the bar would be higher because the new AD is not going to risk his career on a guy that he doesn't necessarily believe in. And if he's coming into a situation with a coach who's had 2 of the last 3 losing seasons, it ain't going to be hard pressed to imagine a scenario where he doesn't believe in the coach. So, you know, yeah, it puts a lot more pressure on him. But he was on the hot seat this year anyway. Some people thought maybe he'd get another year. With a new AD, I doubt he does. But I thought his seat was pretty hot already.
Right.
You know, it really does sound like they should be a lot better this year. And when it comes to Nagy, man, Mel Kiper just was talking on record about how there's not a better evaluator of football talent in the game. So you have to trust that the guy knows what he's doing. You have to.
If Joe C had stayed,
he's either going to be a genius or this thing's going to crash and burn hard.
So if Joe C had stayed, what do you think Brent Venables' bar was? 8 wins, and he stays. If Joe C was here, or 9 wins. With a new AD, maybe he needs to win 9 or 10 now.
8 wins, especially depending on what some of the wins were and what some of the losses were. If you got 8 wins and Texas and Michigan and LSU are wins, and your only losses are to Alabama and then 8 losses is probably fine. But 9 wins, no matter who the wins and losses are, definitely guarantees him another year under Castiglione.
Straight Shooter says he don't think that BV has anything to worry about for the time being. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be fired anytime soon, but I'm just saying after the season, if he hasn't won 9 or 10 games overall, I think he might get the axe.
I'll make it really, really, really simple. He's good until October, and we're going to see what happens in the Cotton Bowl. If he gets dicked down by Texas 3 out of 4 years, it may be over midseason. We haven't just lost to Texas. It's been bad twice, and if that happens 3 out of 4 years, man, and then you have a new AD coming in, even if he's a guy that kind of like if I was hired as the AD tomorrow, just hypothetically speaking, and I know that this dude's had 2 6 and 7 seasons. I love Brent Venables. Hey, he says all the right things, but and he was great as a defensive coordinator. But this is now my job, and I get to go hire someone that is my guy. It's almost kind of like when you see stuff happen in the NFL where you get like the new head coach comes in and they may have a quarterback that they drafted first round last year, but this new general manager wants to bring his dude in. He wants to bring his guys in, or maybe the same deal. Coaches, the coach, he don't really have that stench on him from the previous, like whoever this new athletic director is. He ain't going to have the stench on him of hiring Brent Venables, so he won't get blamed for any of whatever happens this year. He's not going to get blamed for none of it, and he's going to want to go hire his guy. Unless unless this team just is the best case scenario, like this offense just is awesome with Mateer and everything clicks. The O-line's much better, and despite losing Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman and Ethan Downs, who I thought are 3 best players, unless that defense is still just as good somehow losing all 3 of those, which it could be. I'm not saying it ain't going to be. I think there is a world. There is a chance.
Oh, yeah.
Possibility that this defense is still good.
That defensive line is going to be so much better this year, and that defensive line is going to be scary good. And when you got a presence like that on the line, when the front 7 is badass like that,
right,
everyone benefits. And
you brought up Texas.
I think there's a good chance that they're not just as good. I think there's a good chance that they're better on defense.
Y'all brought up Texas as a barometer of sorts to maybe determine where Brent Venables possibly is in 2026. But there's another one that y'all brought up, and that's what I was smiling about earlier. I think Kill Breeze might have caught on to me a little bit, but Jackson Arnold. Well, Jackson Arnold comes to Norman and just lights Oklahoma's ass up. You think that's going to be one of those things that could cost Brent Venables his job?
It's not going to be a good look. That's for sure. I mean, there was not a bigger Jackson Arnold supporter than me, and I still think the kid got, OU fans were brutal to that dude. But dude, if we're just being honest, it's some of the worst quarterback play I've ever seen in my life. I don't care who the offensive line was, or that guy got spooked early on, and he started seeing ghosts the rest of the season.
Except when he played Alabama, he didn't say shit except run.
Go back and look at that game. It wasn't like they were throwing the ball all over the field either. I mean, they were running the ball, and somehow or other, Alabama decided to not just let them run the ball a lot, but then just went shit on offense. Like all of a sudden couldn't score any points. I've never seen it in an Alabama team in 15 years. So who saw that coming? But my point is, I'll believe it when I see it from Jackson Arnold. It was not a lot of the problem at QB was just him. Now I will say this: he's going to have, especially compared to what he had at OU, he's got some great receivers, dude, in on that team. They got some really good receivers on that team. So he may make them look like I don't know, dude. It's gonna be tough. Hopefully the defense can put pressure on him the whole game. And I feel like he's such a mental case. I don't know that he's gonna be mentally fixed yet to be able to come back into Norman. And if we can get in his head early, I don't think he's gonna be strong enough to power through that. So, and if our defensive line is as reported, then there's a good chance that they'll put him on his back a couple of times early in the game. So who knows how that goes? But to your point, yeah, that's what I was talking about. It depends on the wins and losses. That's one of those That's not just a regular loss. This guy, you basically cut a 5-star who you had completely built everything around, by the way, and then you get rid of his ass, and he comes back and lights you up. Like, let's say he goes off a fucking 350 and runs for a buck. Yeah, that's going to be a bad day.
Johnny Fairlane has a donation. He's a $4.99 donation from Johnny Fairlane. He says he's right. You can't be losing to Texas like that.
Yeah, you can't lose.
As long as y'all don't get blowed out, I think y'all might be all right. I don't know. I mean,
right. But the whole deal with Jackson Arnold, that's also in the beginning of the year, and so it's one of them games that we're kind of like. There's only so many games that are kind of. You got some games that are 50-50 games, and there's only like 3 games that should be guaranteed you can pencil it in as a win. Auburn is one of them conference games that should be a win at home. And the fact that it's the quarterback that has yet to have a great passing game on that damn field, if he comes in here and finally has a good game passing on that field, it will be embarrassing. It'll be terrible. And then when you couple that with what happened the year before, where you have Dylan Gabriel on your team and you shit on him for this Jackson Arnold guy, and it goes wrong. It's terrible. He's a turnover waiting to happen. Then all of a sudden he goes to another team and he is awesome and kicks your ass. That is worst case scenario. And God, I'll have to not get on social media for weeks.
Well, he does have Gus Malzahn as his coach, and Gus used to be known as not Gus Malzahn. My bad. What's the dude's name down? Hugh Freeze. I get them two mixed up. He does have Hugh Freeze now as his head coach, and Hugh Freeze is supposed to be somewhat of an offensive genius. But here's of late, Hugh ain't been looking too good. As a matter of fact, there's been a big to-do about him being out on the golf course a lot. I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but there was video of him just being on the golf course all the time instead of being out there recruiting. And the recruiting class has fell to 84th. So Jackson Arnold may be in for a rude awakening yet again.
I hope so. Because we damn sure can't have that happen. Like if you lose a close game to Michigan or something, man, you can, but you're not getting over a loss to Auburn with Jackson Arnold quarterback in the team.
In Norman.
Like, you can't come back.
If he has a horrible game and they just happen to squeak one out and it has nothing to do with him,
yeah, that
you know
how fans are, though. They're not going to see that. They're just going to see that you lost to Jackson Arnold. They're going to be pissed off.
Yeah, it'll be a bad day. There's no getting around it. It'll be a real bad day for Brent Venables.
I don't think you'll have anything to worry about. Auburn's probably going to go, and I ain't saying this because I don't like them. They'll probably be about 4-8, 3-9 this year.
I don't think it's going to be that bad, really.
I think it's going to be bad.
What do you attribute such a bad record? What do you think they're?
It doesn't seem like Hugh Freeze is taking the job seriously, man. I mean, like I said, with the whole golf course shit and situation, dude's already got his money. He's like Jimbo Fisher, man. Jimbo Fisher won national title at Florida State, come over to Texas A&M, and just like you didn't really give a shit. Like, what are y'all going to do? Fire me? Then y'all going to give me $80 million to sit at home? Yeah. Oh, well. Fire my ass.
Right.
Well, I mean, who knows, dude? Who knows what some people do?
Auburn could have been a great team every year, but they just do stuff to themselves all the time, man. It's just unexplainable shit they do. You know, they'll like they fired Tommy Tuberville, and he was like 4-2 against Nick Saban. He was he had beat Alabama 5 years in a row, 5 or 6 years in a row. He
Yeah.
loses one game to Alabama, and they fire him.
Yeah.
Dude's like 6-2 or 5-2 against Alabama, and they fire him because of one game.
Yeah, that was I always wondered about that. He seemed to be the best coach they had in a long time, and in fact that's who LSU was trying to hire when they ended up with Nick Saban the first time. They were trying to get Tommy Tuberville, but that fell through, and they had the same agent, and he flipped them on to Nick Saban at Michigan State. How about that?
Yeah, that's certainly.
You wouldn't have went wrong with either one of them, I think. Tommy Tuberville, he's got a smart-ass mouth on him, but so do I. So, I mean, I sort of like Tommy. If he hadn't coached Auburn, I'd probably be, hyping him up a little bit. He's a pretty good senator. I think is he a senator now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
he's pretty good. He's a pretty good politician.
He's definitely a Washington D.C. Congress. He's either in the House of Representatives or but I think he's a senator now.
So if you guys were in Vegas and you had to bet on Brent Venables being the head coach going into next season, what would y'all put the odds of that, and which way would you bet on that? Like, what would you say should be like, or just go with percentage? What would be your percentage chance that Brent Venables is the head coach going into next year, and would you bet on it?
I would bet on it. I think they're going to be. Maybe I'm the eternal optimist here, but I think they're going to be a lot better. I mean, first of all, they were so bad last year on offense. So and by all indications, especially if they can stay healthy, they should be hella improved on the offensive line. Not just a little bit, a lot bit. So, and then I believe in Mateer. I believe in Mateer. I believe in Ott. I feel like out of the wide receiver room, we at least should have a few people that are serviceable enough if the talent around them everywhere else that I've mentioned is good. So, and then, again, I think our defensive line is going to be a lot better. I mean, I think this might be the first time since, like, the early aughts that you're going to see an OU defensive line that's constantly in the backfield. It's just constantly putting pressure. That's how good I think they're going to be. I think Stone's going to have a breakout year. I think Jackson's just going to continue to be elite for his age and his, only being a true sophomore. And then you've got Dominic Williams coming back in the center. You got they're just going to be, man. I just think they're going to be. You got Grayson Halton coming. You know what I mean? They're going to be. They've got some studs. And if Stone has the breakout year that I expect he's going to have,
right.
And Adebaware, by the way, a lot of people think that he's looking like he's going to be take a big jump. So. Man, if a couple of things happen, it wouldn't take much for this defense to be really elite.
Right.
Will it happen or not? Who knows, man. You know what I mean? But they have the pieces.
The what?
They have the pieces.
Right. Yeah.
His head was about material. I mean, I know he's got all these stats and whatnot, but they claim that Washington State didn't really play a very tough schedule. So I'm interested to see how he's going to do against the level of competition he's going to be going up against week in, week out. If he does well or he just average, I think Oklahoma is going to be a lot better because, like you said, the defense is a lot better. I think all Brent Venables needs to do is get to 9 wins with a bowl win, go 9-4, something like that. I think he might get another year if he goes 9-4.
I think the bowl win that you mentioned, it's funny you mentioned that because while I normally wouldn't say those are really all that important, I feel like that's kind of an important. Well, I think we need to come away with a bowl win this year too. You know what I mean? Not just getting a good bowl, but winning that son of a bitch. So
We know Lindy's has y'all predicted as number 12 in the nation, which I thought was pretty high. I didn't expect them to rank y'all that high, but I'll take that if I was Oklahoma. If I was 6-7 last year and they got me ranked 12, that means you're on the cusp of the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, what you bring up about Mateer is obviously a fair point. It's all kind of just speculation right now, but I think he's the real deal. I'm not trying to say he's the second coming of Baker Mayfield by any means, but I think as compared to what we had last year, he's gonna feel like Baker Mayfield. We're gonna finally have someone like, let's just say this. Oklahoma, I can guarantee you, is at least going to have a vertical passing game this year. We didn't have one last year. I've never seen such a thing. If you would have told me that Oklahoma would have less than 20 passes past 15 yards, because I think it was some crazy ass number of just mid passing attempts, not deep threats, just mid game, midfield stuff. I wouldn't have believed it. So I know one damn thing is we're gonna at least have that back, and again, I just think we're gonna be better at running back. The real question for me is, can we stay healthy, man?
Yep.
Ops coming off of an injury. We got other star players that have had injuries. We're hoping that Giovanni Gibson, the guy that would look like was going to be our best wide receiver, now they're thinking he's going to be back fairly early. I wish they would just sit his ass until the SEC play starts. Why even risk it? You want to let him go out there for a couple of snaps, where he just gets some feeling under his legs, fine. But why even risk injury? Give him a couple more weeks to heal up, But
yeah, they need to quarantine his ass and put him in bubble wrap, and until we play Michigan, he can play a little bit in that one. And then when we play Auburn, maybe set him unless it looks like the game's tight, and then he plays. But yeah, I think injuries are going to be a huge part. And I'm not. Sometimes I am kind of negative. I'm not as optimistic about Oklahoma, especially with this Brent Venables era. I haven't I've never felt this way about my Oklahoma Sooners. Like, even when we would have a bad year with Bob Stoops, a bad year was winning 8 or 9 games or 10 games. That was a bad year. Going 10-3 or something, and you lost a bowl game after going 10-2 in the regular season. That was a bad year. But I have to say, dude, with that being said, I somehow, some way, feel pretty good about this season. I even, almost as bad as I hate to say it, I kind of feel like Brent Venables is the kind of guy, he can win if everything around him is good. And I feel like this year could be that year where he's got this experienced quarterback that's worked with this offensive coordinator. And I know he did it at Washington State, which does concern me. Can he do this against SEC, defenses where you've got some of the best defensive linemen coming at you, week after week? That's definitely completely different from what he faced at Washington State. But I think the offensive line is going to be better. I think he's going to be way better than what Jackson Arnold was. Like you said, we had 0 vertical passing game at all. I never thought I would live to see a day at all where Oklahoma has a quarterback that's got, I think he had like 1,500 yards passing, or maybe it was 1,000 yards. It was something stupid.
He averaged under 200 yards a game. I mean,
yeah, 100-something yards a game.
That doesn't even seem real.
And that's even calculating some of them games that he had against, the 4 opponents that wasn't SEC, where he was able to rack up some stats against them. It would have looked even worse, if it wasn't for that. But it was just like, hell, even that Alabama game that he was talking about, hell, he didn't throw the ball good in that game neither. He was able to just run the ball just enough to keep us in that one.
Now, we had Milroe sliding into home trying to tackle people.
Right. I credit
no interception. He don't even try to tackle the dude, man. He tries to slide like he's going in the home plate or something.
Outlaw, look at what we got. I hate to interrupt you, Johnny, but look at that donation we just got. Look at what they're saying.
That's right. If you want to get your comments
pushed this earlier.
If you want to get your comments pushed to the top, we can. There's a little donation button at the bottom. You can hit that like Appalachia Africa Twin just did, and it'll put you to the top, and then we will read it out if I can speak, and we will address it. Appalachia Africa Twin with a $10 donation says any rumors around Norman, Oklahoma about OU going after Ren Baker from West Virginia for athletic director. Cheers, Outlaw. This shot for you.
Rumor is he's already. Rumor is they're finalizing the contract. Appalachia.
I did pull that up. That's why Killer Breeze is laughing about it. I pulled up the top 5 a while ago, and lo and behold, there's Ren Baker, the new athletic director at the University of Oklahoma.
I mean, wouldn't you say it's kind of fair? They take our one of our defensive assistants.
Oh,
Don't you think that's fair?
it
was all love when y'all took our defensive coordinator. It was all love. It was just about the better opportunity. Well, maybe this is just a better opportunity for Ren.
Yeah, you need to go over and tell Kuz about that, man. He'd probably be happy to hear about that because him and Ren Baker are best buddies, man. I think they have like waffles and shit together in the morning or something.
From what I understand, the contract has already been verbally accepted.
Pink tacos.
And they are yes. To answer your question, yes, we can afford him. We can pay for Ren. Don't be upset. It's okay. Y'all been on quite the run lately. Everybody's happy for West Virginia. Now it's time for your AD to come to big boy land and into the SEC.
Can y'all afford being the poor man's Texas?
Yeah, we can. Texas? Yeah, the answer is yes. We will take your mid-card athletic director and allow him to come to the SEC where the big boys play and make a real name for himself.
Well, geographically speaking, Oklahoma's actually always on top, right? Right?
Yeah.
But Ren Baker actually was on the top 5 on this article here from SI.com, Appalachia Africa Twin. So go check out SI.com at Sports Illustrated. And Ren Baker is in the top 5 as far as candidates go. I guess he's got some kind of connection to Oklahoma. I'm not sure.
I think you're right about that. I mean, in all seriousness,
it says here Baker's originally from Oklahoma. Ren Baker is from Valiant, Oklahoma.
Is Ren the guy that played for Bob Stoops? One of these guys played for Bob Stoops.
It says here he attended undergrad at Southeastern Oklahoma State and later got his master's degree from Oklahoma State.
Zach Selman, I think, played for Bob Stoops as a walk-on. I don't think he ever played, but he was on the roster, I think, for Bob Stoops. I'm pretty sure I read that.
Maybe that's what they was.
That might be where, because as soon as you said that, I'm like, dude, I was reading through that, and I do remember one of them did play for Bob Stoops, but I think it was Zach Selman, I think.
I mean, in all seriousness, a Ren Baker type hire is what I would like. That's what I would like to see. I was something from, I'm good with no OU ties this time around. Let's bring in someone that's cutting edge and young and, hungry to make a name for themselves and be a trailblazer. That's what I want.
Well, I mean, Ren Baker's went out and got things for West Virginia that people said that they wouldn't be able to get. He got them in a major conference when I think it was the Big East dissolved. Was he the one that got them in the Big 12, or was that somebody else?
Well, if he's the one that did that, then you really got to credit them because that could have gone poorly had they not made that move. And now, really, West Virginia is one of the programs that we talked about as having a real legit chance of stepping in and being the blue blood of the conference.
He's brought what's his name? Damn, Rich. I remember his name. Rich Rodriguez. He brought Rich Rodriguez back. When a lot of people weren't so happy about that, but Rich Rod went to Michigan and he was undermined by Lloyd Carr. Lloyd Carr was working behind the scenes against him, but he had West Virginia on the cusp of the national title game. If they hadn't lost to Pittsburgh in that final game, it would have been West Virginia playing Ohio State instead of LSU that year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not a guy that gets intimidated easily by his surroundings. So, to me, if Oklahoma could get him, that would be a pretty good hire.
Yeah. I mean, in all, like I said it earlier, I think the guy from Texas Tech, I think Hokut is. I like the sound of that. I don't know why, man. I mean, I'm okay if they bring Zach Selman in, but I don't think you're getting any. And I could be wrong about this. I don't think you're getting any new, fresh idea. I think you're having a guy come in that's going to try to do it just like Joe Castiglione did it. And
I don't think we're getting the fireworks and the
is that what we want?
that we're wanting.
No.
I agree with you 100%. It's going to be another guy that's going to try to come in and maybe be the poor man's Joe C. And I don't want that because it just doesn't seem, it don't feel right to me. If they get him because they legit think he's the best, I'm all for it. But I'm irritated with us just going and getting guys that we like, not going to get a guy who's just legit the best. Because it's not like we're some program like even and it's happened a few times, like with the Brent Venables hire, getting him over. We could have got the damn Lanning. Some people say we couldn't. Some people say we could. I mean, whatever. I think we could have. And
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we could have got Lanning, but a lot of people felt like.
I don't even think Lanning was a head coach at Oregon yet when that happened.
No, he wasn't. No, he was still a young up and coming defensive coordinator, and a lot of people felt like after we were looking at him and Brent Venables, and supposedly there were some rumors here and there about Beamer and Josh Heupel, but Beamer and Josh Heupel had both went like I think 6-6 or something the year before, going into that. So it wasn't like they had proven success either in the SEC or as head coaches for that matter.
Yeah.
But the Dan Lanning and the Brent Venables were the two hot shot defensive coordinators. One of them had won a natty, one of them had won a couple natties. And he went with Brent Venables because that was the guy he had ties to and a relationship with and all that. And it just felt like that was the buddy situation. And then followed by that, we could go out. I'm not saying we could steal everybody in the country's offensive coordinator, but I guarantee you, if you go look at the top 25 best offensive coordinators, my bad, not defense, offensive coordinators, when we hired Seth Luttrell, we may not be able to steal like Ohio State's or Bama's or Georgia's, but you can probably go get a top 10 offensive coordinator or go look at the top 15 and there may be 6 of them that you can get, and we go get Seth Luttrell. That was another bad move.
That was a real bad hire on BB's part.
That seemed like a buddy hire to me.
I think it was part buddy, and then part of it was, dude, that was for Jackson Arnold because he supposedly was running the same system that Jackson threw in high school, blah blah blah. And I think it was a lazy hire as well, man. He's got so much going on. It's like he don't have time for that shit. And this looks like, oh, well, how convenient. Seth Luttrell. Dude, it was almost like the minute he was brought on as an analyst, everybody was talking about, anytime someone would bring Levy up, either leaving or getting, whatever, they would always be like, oh, that's fine. Seth Luttrell. We got Seth Luttrell. I'm just like,
yeah.
Who the hell is Seth Luttrell, man? Why are we so excited about Seth Luttrell? But I think it was those two things that kept him on. It was one of the worst hires, maybe the worst hire of Venables' tenure at OU.
Appalachia Africa Twin says it was Oliver Luck, the AD, that done that for them, got them into the Big 12. So that wasn't Ren Baker, but regardless, he had the balls to go out and rehire Rich Rodriguez, which I thought was a pretty ballsy move. NIL Commission says Selman went to Wake Forest. No, I think that's incorrect. I just read an article from SI.com. Selman is at Mississippi State. I think he's the athletic director at Mississippi State, right?
He may have went to Wake Forest also, but it said he was he was like a walk-on for a brief moment at Oklahoma when Bob Stoops was there also. So I don't know. Maybe.
I thought he was talking about where he was an athletic director at. That's what
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe he is talking about he played at Wake Forest. It was sort of vague, so I assumed he was talking about the athletic director's position.
Yeah. But who knows? It could have been wrong. You can't believe everything you see on the internet. So what I saw I don't remember him being I figure, and I mean you got to figure I'm the kind of guy that could name OU's roster from top to bottom, jersey number 1 all the way down to 99 in the early 2000s, and I don't remember hearing of a Selman being on the roster unless he was a walk on that was just not really listed or something. So. When I read that, I felt like, damn, that's something I figure I would have seen that there was a Selman on the roster, and I don't remember seeing it. So who knows? It could have been some bad information floating around.
Sean James has his badge. He's deputized. He's in the outlaw posse. He says the worst was Brent asking a incompetent Luttrell to mix his offense with Lebby's. Did they ask him to do that?
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
I think the most underrated thing that's hurt Brent Venables, and like I said, it's probably not that big of a deal, but me and Johnny Johns talked about it, me and Kilbreeze talked about it, is what happened with Cale Gundy, man. I think that was something that had more of an impact than people really realize.
Big time.
I think it did too, because I have to wonder, was he the wingnut helping hold a lot of that shit together down there, especially offensively and with recruiting? Because one of the common denominators throughout the years, like we've had, Josh Heupel, Heisman finalist, then it was Jason White won a Heisman, and then it was Sam Bradford, and then it was, Landry wasn't a Heisman finalist, but he was still a solid player for 3 of his 4 years. And then after that, it was Baker, and then it was Kyler. And one of the common, and not to mention the running backs that we had, we always had running backs that were solid and receivers that were solid the whole time he was there. And soon as he's gone, all of a sudden, we don't have that no more. So, yeah, I think he was way more important than people think he was. And I even told him that when I talked to him on the radio that time, because he knew how to recruit. And they said he was the kind of guy that knows his way around the coach's room, or however, even Brent Venables put it. He's like, dude, he's a guy, he knows everything. He knows it all.
Cale Gundy is the guy that told Adrian Peterson, we're going to win with you or without you.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty ballsy.
You know what I'm saying? And by the way, that's probably his best recruit of all time, but that is one of Cale's recruits. He was everything Johnny said is 100% on the money. Cale was the heart and soul of that, and underrated, dude. Underrated he also called a hell of a game as the offensive coordinator in the bowl game, before Luttrell started, So, losing him was a big blow, man. In some ways, we may not have really fully ever recovered from that.
Turd Ferguson agrees with y'all on Gundy. He was the heart of the team from the 80s.
He was.
Hey, I want to say this real quick. You brought up Baker Mayfield, Killer Breeze. You said that you didn't think that material would be the next Baker Mayfield, but I got something that I think Baker Mayfield may try to teach material. You want me to show that to you?
Sure.
All right. Let me bring it up for you right now.
This ought to be good.
You see that? Can you see that?
I see it.
All right.
He's just looking at the Kansas sideline.
I knew that was
coming.
I knew what that was.
Uncalled for, and that right there, NFL GMs are going to see that. And look, he's just looking at the Kansas sideline. Right there. Now that's
still got drafted number 1.
Uncalled for, and that right there, NFL GMs are going to see that. And look.
NFL GMs are going to see that. Yeah, that's why he's still in the NFL, and y'all are retarded.
And got drafted number 1.
NFL GMs are going to see that. Everybody's going to see it. And that's why he's in Tampa Bay and doing rather well, I might add. And Cleveland shit the bed and got rid of him because he went to the playoffs. That's the
Yep.
Cleveland thing to do. And then they go out and draft Sekazulu Sanders to be their 15th string quarterback or whatever the hell he is on that team.
Which isn't the word out so far that he's been less than
Oh yeah,
stellar.
oh yeah. He's bottom. He's the bottom, man. If he was
No,
a
it's almost like
faggot, he would be on the bottom, man. He's down there on the bottom for real.
it's almost like we saw it coming.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's
first
perfect.
string, man. I mean, why would you do that anyway? Why would you draft two quarterbacks in the same draft? I don't understand that.
I think it was a favor to stop the bleeding on draft day.
Now
Put
I'm
it
gonna get in trouble now because I said that. I said the F word, not the UCK, but the double G in the middle.
That's right.
It's all Sakazulu's fault. He brings out the worst in me.
NIL commission's correct. The media always loves to hate on Baker. They always have. They're finally giving him a little bit of respect because they just can't deny it from him anymore. But they've never Baker's been too cocky for them from day one.
Appalachia After Twin says Gundy was the crankshaft of the OU engine.
Yep. He definitely was. But yeah, with Baker, I kind of get like he's one of them guys. If he's on your team, you love him, and like imagine if he played for Texas or something. I get it if he's not on your team. Why people's like, look at this cocky bastard, you know. But he has kind of calmed down. It seems like the NFL humbled him.
Oh yeah,
And he's becoming a lot more likable, like for everybody, not just whoever's rooting for him, like Tampa Bay fans and Oklahoma fans. Like he's actually becoming more likable as he's gotten older. And I mean, he did do some stuff like not only the grabbing the nuts and the planting the flag at Ohio State, and then the running, getting tackled from the police in Arkansas, getting his pop top behind the cheesecake factory and all that. Thank God for the pandemic. That kind of completely blew over that because that was really getting some wheels on it, dude.
If y'all play Arkansas and Fayetteville at some point when mature, which I don't think y'all do, but if y'all do, just keep Baker away. They don't want him and Mature running around being chased by the Fayetteville cops or anything.
Right.
man, nothing would make me happier than to have Mateer turn out to be a Baker Jr. I would love nothing less. And it's a possibility, dude, because he's a very confident guy. I don't think he's a cocky in your face kind of a guy, but I also think if he comes to Oklahoma and he starts doing well, I don't think he's going to be shy either, you know? So it sets up, it could set up nicely for the young man if things work out. And again, if they don't, and it crashes and burns, it's going to be a freaking train wreck.
He's got that look about him, man. He's got that womanizer look. Got that Joe Namath thing going on.
God damn, that's not where I thought you were going with that. But okay.
Where'd you think I was going?
I thought you were about to prop him up. He's got that look in his eye that I'm a winner look. And then you went completely opposite.
That's right.
He went pedophile. Okay.
Joe Namath ain't a pedophile.
Womanizer, yeah, fair enough. Fair point. That is a fair distinction.
Yeah.
I hope you're right, Jacob. I hope he is Baker 2.0. Again, quite frankly, Oklahoma's been needing a little swagger for a little while now. Dylan Gabriel didn't quite have it.
Right.
I love Dylan. Dylan was a good quarterback and will go down as one of the better quarterbacks in OU's history as compared to the entire resume of quarterbacks. He'll be in the top part of it. But he's also, if I'm pretty sure, Dylan Gabriel is now the leading passer of all time in the NCAA. Isn't that the case? But
Jacob
anyway,
Frank, that's one of my buddies I grew up with and played football with.
how nice.
Jacob
He
Frank.
doesn't have he doesn't, I think he's got he could be the real deal, man.
Yeah, my buddy Jacob Frank, he was a starting defensive end on my high school team, and we grew up playing football together and being party buddies. And we may have got kicked out of a few IHOPs at like 4 a.m. kind of friend, But
That's what I thought it was for.
but yeah, my buddy Jake, me and him, he's always now he's one of them guys, man. He always feels like OU has a chance. He is a true believer, and he also is a big time Brent Venables believer. And but he's also, I've always said, like, I'm the offensive guy and Jake's the defensive guy. So he's always been a huge fan, and he was one of the few people when we was wanting to fire Brent Venables the first time, or some fans wanted him out, some fans didn't. Jake was that one guy 20 or 15 years ago that was like, dude, that was a mistake. I wish we would have never fired Brent Venables. And he ended up being right on that one. And hopefully he ends up being right on this one. Hopefully Brent Venables turns it around and all of a sudden is a lot better than what he was. I know some of that was tough last year. But
Well, I know Brent Venables. I always wondered, if Brent Venables had gotten hired when Lincoln Riley got hired and not had to endure all that bullshit that he had to endure when he come in with the roster being rated. If Brent Venables in the original hire, how things might have turned out a little bit better for Brent and wouldn't have been so hard on him.
yeah,
that's fair.
yeah. Because just like how we say, like with Jackson Arnold, he wasn't dealt the best hand. Well, Brent Venables wasn't either. And then on top of that, last year, you're like, okay, it's his third year. This should be the year. Well, he has to replace defensive coordinator and offensive coordinator. And well, no, defensive coordinator was after that. But anyway, offensive coordinator, new O-line, new quarterback, new conference. It was, and then 5 wide receivers get hurt. It was just I'm surprised we won 6 games and got really, really close. We were still close in the Navy game and Missouri game. I finally said Navy, not Army, by the way. I don't know why. I swear half the time
I'm just laughing because you said y'all got close to Navy, man. Sounds
It's
funny.
bad.
Because
I knew that was coming.
who wants to get close to beating Navy, man? You're supposed to beat the shit out of them.
Yeah,
I knew that was coming.
I should have just said there was a couple games that we were close in, like even the.
We almost beat Navy. That's something to hang your hat on, right?
Even with the Ole Miss game on the road, like we were winning that one at halftime. Had we had any kind of a vertical passing game at all, we win that game. And in the Tennessee game, like I know there was like, well, they let their foot off the gas on the offense. They let their foot off the gas on offense the whole damn year. Like that was not one of Josh Heupel's best offenses. I think we legit had their number, and I think our defense was.
I'll let you read that one out. That's a donation for Killer Breeze.
Nice.
You know what? You're gonna be disgusted to know that I don't have any beer in that refrigerator right now. None.
Yeah, he said, how you going to get in the fridge and not offer me a beer?
But if you were here, my friend, I would gladly buy you a beer at the bar. How about that?
We get you some.
One day we're going to all have to end up at a bar somewhere on some college campus. One day.
I'll get some of the good stuff. We'll get some of that Patron.
Right. Man, normally I'm having a drink while I'm doing these podcasts, but it's a weekday, and I'm having a drink.
Maybe we should create a new podcast called the Three Drunk Guys or something. Maybe we can.
Yeah, he said something about this shot's for you, and normally I've got a shot right here, and I would have taken a shot with you, bud. But this is a weekday, and I'm not the crazy rock star drinker.
Appalachia's from West Virginia, so they probably got that good moonshine up there, man.
Oh yeah,
they got that stuff that'll put you to sleep for a little while.
Right. Man, speaking of that, I got to hop up off here. I didn't know it was already almost 9. I got to wake up at 4 a.m.
Yep. Time goes by fast when you're having fun, huh?
Yeah, it does. I told him, I was like, man, I'll come on for like 20 or 30 minutes, man. Yeah, and I was like,
I started to tell you, and I was like, man, no, I'm enjoying this too much. I ain't gonna tell him shit. But we do need to all get together, and I'd like to come see you play sometimes. Maybe me and Killer Breeze can drive up and see you play sometimes when you get closer to us.
For sure.
I do play close to Killer Breeze from time to time. I play up in like Galveston and Houston and what is that freaking Conroe, Texas.
Dude, that's what I was going to say. I'm 15 minutes away from Conroe, man.
Yeah, I've played there a few times, and we got a promoter that like books us pretty regularly out there. And
Let
Yeah.
me know the next time you're coming into town, dude, because I'd definitely like to go see y'all play for sure.
Yeah.
They got gigs in California, Minnesota. That'd be y'all
Dude,
must
they
actually
played at
do.
the Whiskey, man. The
Y'all must
Whiskey's like
actually do
one
pretty
of the
damn
most
good,
famous
man.
rock and roll bars in the country.
I mean, be going that far for a gig, man. They must be paying y'all a pretty good penny.
I don't get rich off of it, but I mean it's a good extra second job kind of thing. But I'm actually playing the Whiskey a Go Go this weekend. That's why
Really?
that's why I'm going to. It'll be the third time I played there, but
Where's that at?
it's in
That's in
Hollywood.
L.A.
Where?
It's in Hollywood.
Oh,
LA.
I'm not going there.
Well, hey, I'm not neither. I'm staying in Vegas.
I wouldn't make it back. They'd kill me out there. Them Skittle shooters already threatened to noose my ass.
Well, they call it Hollyweird for a reason, and yeah, you'll see some characters out there, dude. But I don't like. I'm staying in Vegas,
Lincoln Riley accused us of stalking him again.
right? And you know what's crazy? Last time I was out there, I'm in Southern California, and it was like the year after. No, okay, it was the right after they had hired Lincoln, and they got the future Heisman winner and all this, and I'm expecting to see all these USC flags everywhere, and I for whatever reason, I saw more Texas flags out there, Texas Longhorn flags than anything.
Really?
Don't know why. Yeah, like even when I was at the Whiskey getting ready to play, now there was some kind of deal going on where a bunch of like guys, like their tags, license plates said Texas, and they were having some kind of a school reunion thing out there, which might be why I saw so many of them. But they were a bunch of Texas fans. They were all wearing their Texas shirts, jerseys, and everything, and they was at a club that was like 2 or 3 doors down from the Whiskey, and they were all hanging out down there. And here I am, pulling up with a Oklahoma plate and OU shirt on.
Wait,
And
do y'all drive there?
I do. I usually drive there. My singer and my guitar player flies, but I drive there. And plus, someone like even though at the Whiskey, most all of them we drive because we got to carry, we got to haul the drums and amps and guitars and all that.
That's true.
And then all the amps. Now this one we don't have to bring drums or anything, but we still got to bring guitars and stuff, which is way easier than having to bring everything.
How long does that take, Johnny?
Well, Vegas. I'm actually going to stay in Laughlin, Nevada the first night, which is on the outskirts of Vegas. That's like 15 hours from my place. But from Vegas, it's only like driving. It's about like driving from here to Dallas. I want to say it's like 3 hours and 45 minutes from the hotel I'm going to be at in Vegas anyway. It may be different if you're in the middle of it or whatever, but it's only going to be about 3 hours 45 from where we're going to be in Vegas. So the long haul is going to be just getting to Vegas, but. And then it takes about 20 hours to go straight from LA straight here. But I mean, you can stop off and check out the Grand Canyon on your way in. You can check out the Cadillac. What's that with all the Cadillacs in the ground in Amarillo, Texas? You can see that.
Yeah, the Cadillac Cemetery or Cadillac Graveyard or something like that.
Yeah, Cadillac Ranch maybe is what it's called.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, that's what it is.
Jeremy Turpin, I don't know if Jeremy Turpin has a song request or not, but he's talking about some Rockin' Pneumonia and some Boogie Woogie Flu by Johnny Rivers. I don't know nothing about that, but
hey, Killer Breeze is going to sing "Hot for Teacher" next time.
Hell yeah, I'll sing that motherfucker. Hell yes, I will gladly jump on stage and do my best David Lee Roth.
Appalachia Africa Twin has a suggestion for you, Johnny Johns. He said you should try to get a gig at the K River Campground in Moyers, Oklahoma for the Angry American Rally. You know anything about that?
For the Angry American Rally. K River Campground.
K River Campground for the Angry. I don't. That one's flying over my head.
Is that one of them white robe events?
White robe events. Hey, they got some of those not that far from here, though. I can tell you what, it's crazy.
They do.
He's definitely trolling us. Hey,
he says do 1,215 miles straight through on 2 wheels from southern West Virginia to Sayre, Oklahoma, 22 hours.
Huh. 22 hours.
He does
Oh
a lot
yeah.
of videos. He does a lot of driving videos. He gets on his motorcycle and he drives across country and does a lot of videos. He's got his own channel.
Oh,
Right.
nice. That's cool.
Hey, it'd be pretty fun on two wheels, but I will say, I haven't ever drove from Oklahoma into Los Angeles or Vegas without running into at least like one or two storms here and there. So that would be the only bad thing about doing it on a bike. I mean, it would be awesome, but you'd have to keep an eye on them storms and pull over and wait them out. But that last time I went, I ran into like two or three different storms that lasted a while, where I was like glad I was in a car, being able to just kind of, we were just thugging our way through it in a car, but on a motorcycle, you have to pull over.
Yeah, that'd be rough.
Yeah.
So we keeping you past your curfew, brother?
Yeah, I do need to get back to that soon.
I started
All right,
my
guys.
story.
Yeah,
I
man.
ain't
Hey,
gonna
next
do
month.
you like that. I ain't gonna do you like that.
Hey, next month it's already here. Football season. It went by pretty fast, man. It's
I
already
wish
here.
it would go by a little bit faster. I wish it was here already.
Me too. It'll be here before we know it, though.
It's close, man. It's close. We're into July. We're into the first week of July already. It's gone.
Yep.
We are past the halfway mark now, man. Like before we know it, we're gonna be talking about how, man, we got 1 week left, just one more game left.
You can always watch Canadian football. They're on during the summertime.
And then before we know it, we're going to be talking about who's getting into the playoffs because it's going to go by that fast once it gets here. It always does, So yeah, it'll be here before we know it.
The Toronto Argonauts have already put Shadir Sanders on their list of players that they're going to draft. Like I'm being for real. I'm not trolling when I say that. They did that early on because it's just prospective players that they think they might have a chance at. So they went ahead and claimed him or something. So
Oh, I would have for sure. Yeah.
we could see Shadir playing in the CFL before long.
Yeah. I mean, if Cleveland liked him, they would have took him in the third round and not Dylan Gabriel. You know what I mean? It's like if you really liked him, why in the hell did you pick Dylan Gabriel first? Like, I mean, like you said, he's only the second best draft pick on his team.
What's the name of the Clemson quarterback that they had? Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
You got to remember, this is the same team that let go of Baker Mayfield, who got him to the playoffs, by the way. It ain't like he sucked.
Right.
So this guy that's going around molesting everybody in the damn massage parlors.
Dude was the first guy that got him to the playoffs in like 25 years. I mean, it was some crazy ass number.
That's the Cleveland move, man. In their football, man, even ever since they left and went to Baltimore and tried to recreate that shit, it's been a shit show.
But man, the thing is, the year that he took him to the playoffs, it wasn't like his play was a big part of their playoff run. Statistically, it was a good season by any measure as a quarterback in the NFL. And they just acted like that just never happened because Deshaun Watson was going to be better. And look how Deshaun Watson is never coming back, dude. He ain't never going to be anywhere close to what he was. Never.
Yeah, and on top of that, wasn't it like five? Like it was some crazy number, dude. Like Cleveland Browns have not won a game in, I can't remember if it was like 400 days, 500 days, it was like hundreds and hundreds of days, way past a year since they had won a game. And they had these coolers that Cleveland Browns fans was buying, and that cooler would open full of beer when the Browns finally win a game. And there was a TV show, the wrestler guy, the guy that was a wrestler, Mrs. and Mrs. or whatever, and he had one of them coolers, and Baker Mayfield come in and won their first game, and they had not won in I think it was like 2 years almost. It wasn't 2 years. And they finally won their first game, and then they're in the playoffs. And I was thinking the same thing. It wasn't like he sucked up there. He had 1 year where he got injured, and everybody knew he was hurt, and everybody knew he was still playing hurt. And he had a couple games that was rough games while playing hurt. It finally got to the point where it's like, guys, you did your best. You got to get out of there, man. He was clearly not even close to 60, 70%, and he was still playing anyway because they had a trash-ass offensive line. And anyway, they did him a favor, honestly. They did him a huge favor.
Well, they did the same thing to Trent Richardson, who was a running back at Alabama. He had one of the greatest seasons in Cleveland history. I think he broke Jim Brown's record or some shit, or come
Yeah,
close.
it was a massive year.
And then they just carted him off to Indianapolis in the middle of the year and just basically deep sixed his damn career. I mean, it done something to him mentally. I don't know what happened, but after that, he just went to shit.
I remember him really well. Yeah, he was a bad mother. He was badass. But yeah, Cleveland is not the place to go, and somehow Sanders is going to be their savior. uh,
They could always hire Dion.
That's what they're gonna have to do, man. There's no way in hell Shador Sanders is gonna be the answer. No chance. Zero.
Exactly. Well, hell, I will holler at you guys, man.
All right, man.
I think that's a good note for me to end it on.
Take it easy.
I promise not to keep you so long next time.
All right, y'all's good, man. Y'all take it easy, guys.
All right, man.
By the way,
I got another 20, 30 minutes in me.
But by the way, Johnny Johns, if y'all have heard my lead up music in a lot of my videos, him and Next Halen, their band, actually done that song for me. So it's an original. I got my own music thanks to Next Halen. John, go check them out. I think they got their own channel, and they also have like I think they got like a website. So he must be doing pretty good. Like I said, he got a gig all the way in Minnesota and Los Angeles, so they must be paying him pretty good to go all that
Dude,
way.
that bar that he's gonna go play at this weekend, the Whiskey, that is like one of the top rock and roll bars in the country. I mean, historically, the best of the best bands played there. You know, before they were big names, and then obviously returned after they were big names. But that place is amazing. So if he's playing there, they're legit. They are real musicians.
That's what I'm saying. He actually invited me to go on one of their buses or something. I guess they got a tour bus too.
Hell yeah.
And he wanted to do a show live from their tour bus one weekend.
Oh, dude, you should do that. That would be amazing.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? Especially if I get a little kiddo to go with me.
Hell yeah, dude. That would be unbelievable, man. That'd be a good time.
Take this shit on the road. We'd be like ESPN Game Day. We'd make our own game day.
You know, I had that when I first bought this RV. That was going to be part of what I was supposed to go cross country. And we were going to go and stop at, you know, big game spots and go live on the internet from the big games, which I still think is a good idea, to be honest with you.
That'd be great. Especially if I could get like a sponsor and then pay me to do that shit.
Well, that's the problem is that, you know, it's going to be a very expensive venture unless you have somebody helping you with the costs.
Yeah, we'd have to be some kind of alternative thing to game day, you know, because they're all politically correct and shit. Except for Pat McAfee. Him and Nick Saban, you know, they got in trouble. He got on there and he got Nick Saban all wound up, man. They started cussing, raising hell at that Irish pub when they had that game over in Ireland. And one of the couple of the listeners wrote that. I guess it's the FCC or whoever's in charge of that shit, and complained about him cussing and raising hell, and so they got on to Pat McAfee and Nick Saban for some of the shit they've been saying on there. And then the next week they did it again. It's just like, what y'all gonna do? We millionaires. Y'all can find us $20,000. You think we care?
Yeah, man, it's funny.
Appalachia African Twin said the whiskey in L.A. is where Motley Crue, Faster.
Absolutely, Guns N' Roses, all those bands. Yeah,
I did not know that. And I watched The Dirt, the movie. It's a pretty funny movie. It's a little satirical, but it's a pretty good movie. The college students love it.
Man, if we just had a connection to a show like Crane and Company or something, you know what I mean? If we just had a connection to something like that, maybe we would get further. Do we know anyone like that?
I don't know. I don't know. The Marshmallow, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, wait. No, that didn't happen. That was
Oh,
supposed to happen, but that didn't happen.
and Marshmallow's not gonna like y'all talking about taking Texas Tech's AD, man. You know he's a Texas Tech guy on the sly. So
It's funny how that works out. He claims he went to school at OU. That's what I hear him say.
he didn't do that.
But it's not what the thing. That's not what things that would lend you to believe something else.
He might have cleaned a couple of toilets or something at the damn local Arby's or some shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Fucking joke. When his day is coming soon, I'm gonna blast his ass. We just need to wait for the right audience, but it's coming soon.
If for some reason Brent Venables doesn't make it this year, do you have like a wish list of coaches that you think that y'all can get realistically?
Well, first of all, I can't imagine there would be very many coaches, if any, that would not be legitimate, targets. Now, granted,
Y'all have a history of hiring assistants.
well, we have a history of hiring assistants, but maybe this is the first time to not do that. I don't know. I mean, I believe in hiring young because they have a history of hiring young assistants. You know what I mean? Brent Venables was actually the opposite. He was 50 years old when they hired him. He was an assistant, but he was not a young assistant like Bud Wilkinson and Barry Switzer and Bob Stoops. So that's my main thing is I want them to go young. I want them to go somebody that looks like they got an edge, that they're trailblazers in some way. I haven't really looked at the pool to really see what's available. But for me, again, I would just want it to be someone that's young, and I don't even. Maybe a young head coach somewhere, instead of a young assistant. So
I'm looking up something real quick. Yeah, a lot of people, the Captain Obvious one that keeps coming up is Josh Heupel because he played at Oklahoma.
I don't know about that.
But I don't know if I'm actually sold on Josh. I think everybody puts a lot of stock in him beating Alabama twice, and sometimes that's the wrong way to go. You shouldn't base everything based on one team that they beat.
Again, man, I feel like if they're going to get a new coach, I don't want them to have any ties to Oklahoma. I think it's time to go away from that. Look at again, Bob Stoops was as big a hire as they've ever had at Oklahoma, considering the timing of it and what the state of the program was at the time. And he was not Oklahoma related in any way. He was an Iowa. He was a Big Ten guy, and he had obviously experience under what's the old man from Kansas State? Well, help me out. I'm drawing a blank.
Bill Snyder.
Before he went to Spurrier. So I feel like we should do that. And again, maybe this time instead of getting an assistant, we get a hot young coach, up and coming coach, and just roll the dice. I mean, that's what you're ultimately doing, no matter what, right? I mean, it's never a guarantee.
Turd Ferguson brings up an interesting point. He says, "I say if we get Wren as AD, he will snag Shane Beamer if Brent throws up 3 against Texas again." Yeah, I think Shane Beamer would actually take the job too. I don't know if y'all could take Josh Heupel off of Tennessee. I don't know if it would be like a lateral move. Y'all could probably match them. I just don't know if y'all could outbid them completely. Yeah. So I would think Shane Beamer would probably be a better candidate to me.
And listen, man, I mean, there's reason to believe Shane Beamer in the right place with the right, talent could be a great coach. I'd personally like to see a little bit more from him as a head coach before I went Shane Beamer's way. But how can you not like his legacy, his family bloodline with his dad? And he got some quality time under Bob at OU. So, who's to say he wouldn't be a great head coach? But I just like to see a little more. I've seen enough bad at South Carolina, and I get it, it's South Carolina, but still, you're an SEC school. I feel like every school in the SEC should be at a certain level just because of the athletes you can bring. Even a Vanderbilt compared to other like schools, they should be bringing in better talent. So, I don't know. What do you think?
About what?
What do you think about Beamer?
I like Beamer. I think he'd be a good hire. I like his passion. I mean, the dude, he was going to whoop Brent Belema's ass in that damn bowl game. I was like, damn, man, Brett's a pretty big guy, man. I don't know, man. But he didn't act like he cared, man. He's like a little Wolverine, man. He's finna go tear his damn head off and shit down his neck. He was mad as hell, man. He was like, oh, snap. He's like, screw this shit. It's just the old bowl game anyway. Nobody gives a shit. Everybody leaves and goes off somewhere, man. But I like his passion, man. He seems like he's really passionate.
Oh, he's definitely. And by all accounts, the people that you're around the Oklahoma program that know the guy have nothing but good things to say about him. I mean, so again, he's got a great family bloodline with the sport. He's also coached under some good coaches, learned under some good coaches, including his dad. So maybe he's the guy.
His dad reminds me a lot of Bill Snyder. He built a program that was shit. Virginia Tech used to be awful. Kansas State was the losingest program of all time. All time, not just Division I, but 1AA, Division III, everything. Jeremy Turpin says if BV goes, why not Ben Arbuckle? Well, most of the time when you fire a coach, you don't keep an assistant on as a head coach because obviously they're not doing their job. So that would be a very unique.
If BV gets fired, unless Oklahoma has some kind of crazy, unbelievable offense this year, and everyone in the country is singing the praises of Ben Arbuckle, unless that happens, if BV gets fired, they are cleaning house.
They're not going to keep anybody.
No, I don't think so
if
either.
BV stepped down for personal reasons, like his wife's cancer or something,
that could happen.
Then Ben Arbuckle would be a great solution probably, but that's very unlikely to happen. Jeremy Turpin said Spurrier even failed at South Carolina. Actually, Spurrier had a bad year his last year, but Spurrier actually was really
did pretty good.
He actually took South Carolina to the SEC championship game.
Yeah,
they got beat by Cam Newton. But they did go to the SEC championship game,
and he was close a couple of other years too. I mean, he had some good teams.
He had more 10-win seasons at South Carolina than any other coach, including Lou Holtz. So I mean, he was like, I think he had 3 10-win seasons there, which is unheard of at South Carolina.
Now they weren't Florida. They weren't anything like he was at Florida. I give you that.
Now, he did go down to Florida and beat Florida. That was pretty
cool.
He
sure did. Dude, I don't care what you say. Even when Spurrier was dismantling LSU on a regular basis, I always loved Steve Spurrier. I miss the guy. I wish he was coaching in college to this day.
He was the original smack talker to me.
Yes,
he was one of the first coaches to just come out and grill the hell out of the guy. I used to hate him, man, because he would just give us all sorts of hell, man. And then
dude.
Bobby Bowden, I thought Bobby.
I was about to say, his getting on Bobby Bowden was the best, dude.
And I thought Bobby was going to have a coordinator, man, when he called him Free University. It's like,
so good, man.
Damn, Steve. That old man's going to make him kill over, man. Bobby's old as hell, man. I'll be talking that shit to liver spots.
And he's still raising hell. Look what he just said about Arch Manning. That
shit was awesome, man.
That was great.
It's like, why didn't he start over a 7th round quarterback if he's so damn good?
Yeah. And by the way, it's a fair question. Well,
that's what aggravates people. Is the shit he says? It's got a little bit of truth to it. So it pisses them off, man. He says the quiet part out loud a lot. So.
But he's usually on the money. He's usually right on the money.
Appalachia Africa Twin, I appreciate the correction. I'm sorry. I apologize for that. Yes, I should have said Scam Newton instead of Cam Newton. You're right. Scam Newton, because his daddy got a lot of money. All of a sudden, his daddy's got this triple wide trailer looking church, and then all of a sudden he's got a brand new church when he goes and starts playing for Auburn. But can't nobody really say nothing about that now because everybody's getting paid.
Yeah, that's right.
So it ain't a scam anymore.
That's right.
And to be honest, Alabama was probably paying half of our players then too. You just got to pay the right players.
Yeah, they were all doing it, man. That was everybody was doing that.
I got a friend of mine that did a show here called Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa, and he got on there talking about Ohio Stank had the best team money could buy this past year. And I'm like, you do realize that Alabama paid for our players too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's paying their players, bro. So, a little bit of hypocrisy there, man. That's the old adage of throwing stones from a glass house kind of shit. So,
yep, that's right. That's absolutely right.
Let's be honest, man. They've probably been paying players since the 1920s, man. Everybody.
Of course, dude.
And if you're not paying them, you're going to have history like Vanderbilt. Yeah, I know Vanderbilt every once in a while wins, but,
if you're trying to win and the people at the very top are doing it, then you clearly at some point need to ask yourself, do I really want to win? And if I do, then I need to do what everybody's doing. I mean, that's as simple as that. You can try to not pay, but just look at Notre Dame. Look at what athletes Notre Dame used to get when they couldn't pay. And look at what they get now.
That's right. Because them players didn't want to go up there. Because it's so damn cold, so you have to pay them to come up there and play. Right?
Well, but I mean, I'm being serious. They literally look at their recruiting rankings now. They get in they're competing for the top athletes, and for about 30 years there, that was not happening. From 90 to I don't know, man. They still had a decent team in 93, right? Didn't they have a decent team in 93? But for a good 25 years, they didn't have dick going on.
Well, all I know is a lot of players right here, I'm in Tuscaloosa. Even before this stuff was legal, they were driving around in pretty nice cars. How did Tua Tagovailoa's entire family come from Hawaii over here? I mean, he brought the whole damn Samoan nation over here, man. It's like 17 people. How can you afford that, man? Someone's helping somebody. You know what I mean? Even back in the day, man, this shit was going on. Even with your team. I remember Jamel Holloway showing up in an expensive-ass fur coat. I guess it was at the Orange Bowl. He was benched or something. I can't remember. For some reason, he wasn't playing.
I think you're thinking of Brian Bosworth.
They probably both had one. Hell, Barry Switzer had a fur coat, man. Didn't he go and recruit?
Yes,
Brian Bosworth with a fur coat on.
Yes. from shoulders down, a full length fur coat, not just a fur coat, full length to the ground. That's why he's the man, and he always will be the man, because only Barry Switzer would do that.
I'd have been interested to see Barry Switzer coach here at Tuscaloosa, man. I think he would have been a great coach here.
Oh, he would have fit right in. He's the best, man. He is the best. Look, I was devastated when he retired. I was devastated.
Well, they sort of forced him out, didn't they?
They did force him out. It was complete bullshit.
I read the story on it, man. I was like, man, are you kidding me right now? This is some Bruce Pearl barbecue sandwich shit. I'm like, come on.
It was complete bullshit.
Everybody's doing it.
They were just making him take the rap for all of the bad publicity they'd had recently, and that's essentially what happened. And so I was devastated when he left because I used to love Barry Switzer as my head coach. I remember it very vividly. And there was nobody else like it, man. He was the man.
Appalachia Africa Twin says, sorry, brother, I remember I'm old like you. I remember things. I'm not old, man. I just grayed early. Just so you know, I'm not old, man. I'm like Taylor Hicks. Y'all remember Taylor Hicks that won American Idol and he had gray hair at the age of 28?
Yep.
That's me. I'm actually 41 years old, man. That's all.
That's funny, man.
Outlaw of college football. Now, man, we know SMU didn't write Eric Dickerson and company any checks for those wins on the field. Yeah.
The
They
Pony
might not write any
Express.
checks, but they sure as hell put a bag of money at their door.
Eric Dickerson and Craig the Pony James.
Yep. Him and his little Adam James son that got pissy and wet their diaper because they put him in the outhouse.
He got
put him in the outhouse.
he got what he deserved. He's been nowhere ever since.
Little snotty ass brat. Mike Leach put his ass in that outhouse, man. That shit was funny, man.
That was awesome. And he deserved it.
Brian Kelly wasn't great either for them. You
No,
talking about Killer Breeze's head coach now.
He's talking about he ain't my head coach. He's talking about Notre Dame.
I know he's at LSU now. That's your team.
That's not my coach.
One of your teams anyway.
Les Miles wasn't my coach. Neither is Brian Kelly is not my coach. Not even close to my
and
coach.
I like LSU. Unlike a lot of Alabama fans, I've said this 1,000 times. I love LSU. I like them.
They're great, dude. When LSU,
I cannot stand Brian Kelly, man. I cannot put up with that fake ass shit that he does all the time, man.
I can't stand him. I can't stand him. Cannot stand him.
That's Oklahoma Sooner 94. I'm not sure if I saw your name in here before, brother, but welcome aboard. By the way, if you don't mind, smash the like button. I haven't said that hardly any today. And subscribe to the channel. All those things help put us in good graces of YouTube.
Yeah, they do.
You can also join the Outlaw Posse if you want, get a badge and get deputized. Get a random Four Horseman shout out on the actual podcast as well as be the comment of the day. A little something extra, you hit the join button. It's $2.99 a month, 75 cents a week. And Appalachia Africa Twin is now correcting you. He corrected me on Scam Newton. Now he's correcting you on Barry Switzer's robe being the longest.
I stand corrected.
He said that Ric Flair would wear a floor-length fur as well.
I stand corrected. I was actually talking about college football coaches, but fair point nonetheless. Ric Flair is also the man.
Yeah. Well, he's been embarrassing himself a lot here lately. I must
say. He's not, his current version of himself, he's just like most old guys. They get kind of embarrassing. But Ric Flair back in the day was the man.
Yeah, he just didn't know when to let it go. That's where they are most of the time. So that's why
I think it kept him alive, dude, for a while, especially after his son killed himself. But he's it's embarrassing. For sure.
Yeah. Appalachia Africa Twin says, brother, you're so old, your birthstone is molten lava.
You're not supposed to tell everybody that. But that is true. My birthstone is just black now. Tarnished. Dull.
I'm a Highlander, man. I live forever.
There you go.
Speaking of Highlander, I used to like those movies, but I actually like the series better with Adrian Paul in it. A lot of people like the movies. They like it. They said the series is like blasphemy or something, but I actually like that series. The one with the guy with the long black hair. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
I haven't, but now that you say that, I think I'm going to go check it out.
It's called, it was a series called Highlander. It was
I know what you're talking about.
It's a take on the movie. Dude had a black ponytail in his hair, but man, I used to love that show.
I definitely know what you're talking about.
Pony Express got the death penalty. Yes, they did. And in today's society, they would get a 5-star rating in their recruiting efforts.
Yeah, they wouldn't. Yeah, they would not. They'd be celebrated for putting them in class.
Y'all want to talk about someone that deserves reparations? SMU deserves some reparations from NCAA. They cost that program about 20 or 30 years.
Easy.
Now, I will say SMU was going a lot over the top more so than everybody else. They'd get in trouble, and then they'd just keep doing it.
Yeah, no, they threw it in their face. I mean, there's no doubt about it. They were blatant about it.
So you met Ric Flair's daughter and she's spoiled, says Jeremy Turpin. Well, that's no surprise. And she also looks like a dude to me. I think she's got a Jack in the Box.
Yeah, she's not great looking. That's for sure.
And there's some people that'll say she looks good, man. I'm like, she looks like a stick to me, man. And she's just like, I don't know, man. She just think she don't look very female to me. She got square ass and all that shit.
Yeah, she's definitely.
It's like a Barbie doll or something.
She's not good looking.
Not in a good way.
Dude, I think I need to run, brother. But I appreciate you having me on tonight, man.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on here, even though I didn't send the link right the first time.
Oh, it's all good, man. It's all
Like
good. Let's
Jessica Twin said, I'm getting old, man. I'm gonna have to have someone sit over here and hold my hand.
Well, I'll be in touch, man. We'll catch up.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Take it easy.
And that was Killer Breeze, the Oklahoma Roughneck. And before that, it was Johnny Johns, who is a band member of Next Halen, one of the best Van Halen cover bands of all time. They were our guests tonight. They helped us out in the show. Kept me from basically losing my noodle. Because I don't know if I could have went this long by myself. I doubt very seriously. It's always good to have a few people on here. Appreciate everybody that's been in here tonight as well. Had a few new names in here I haven't seen from Jeremy Turpin. Appreciate all the donations from Appalachia Africa Twin. By the way, he has a channel. Basically, he rides cross country on his motorcycle. Some great scenery. Check his channel out. Turd Ferguson was in the house once again. Again, the best screen name in YouTube history. That is Turd Ferguson. As well as many others in here. Jacob Frank was in the house. Who else? NIL Commish. Appreciate him joining and chiming in with us. NIL Commish also has a great channel. Check his channel out. He does a lot of good stuff. He's got a lot of comedic stuff that he intertwines with his sports commentary. And with that, I'm out of here as well. If you don't mind, like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I actually did a podcast today about this very topic. Check it out as well. Share it to your friends. And with that, KMCA to all the other teams class is now officially dismissed.